Up next on U.S. Bank Business Watch, presented by the Cincinnati Business Courier. The man at the center of this stalled Kenwood project is off the hook, headed back to work and talking to the Business Courier. No special clearance needed at this GE aviation facility. We'll tell you what they do here and how to get in. And what's this local legend up to? The latest on Dr. Henry Heimlich. U.S. Bank Business Watch is next. Good morning and welcome to U.S. Bank Business Watch. I'm Kelly Leon in for Brian Patrick, who is a bit under the weather this morning, but he'll join us a little bit later. On the Business Courier front page centerpiece this week, imagine facing the possibility of 30 years in prison, and then in an instant, the weight of such a fate is lifted. Right before Christmas, that was the reality for Matt Daniels, the former developer of Kenwood Town Place, who is now back to work. On December 20th, Daniels was found not guilty in federal court on 23 criminal charges relating to this giant mixed-use project, which has sat half-finished for the past 5 years. We see this eyesore as we drive on I-71 through Kenwood. Daniels and his development firm, Bear Creek Capital, were once the hottest developers in town. In 2008, Bear Creek's portfolio was reported at $650 million nationally, with a local development pipeline of more than $1 billion. That was before Daniels was indicted on 25 counts of bank fraud, conspiracy to commit bank fraud, wire fraud, and mail fraud. In Daniels' criminal trial in December, the prosecutor told jurors he lied to secure a $96 million construction loan and, among other things, bought himself a boat. Now that he's been cleared, he is talking to our reporter Tom Demeropoulos. Tom's extensive interview is in this week's Courier. Business Watch anchor Brian Patrick doesn't have much of a voice this morning, but he joins us in the studio to talk to Tom about what Matt Daniels had to say. Tom and Brian.
Kelly, I'm grateful that Tom is here and Ed does have a voice. This guy wasn't talking during the trial. When he's talking now to you, what did he say that surprised you?
You know, Brian, the one thing that surprised me is that he always wanted to talk. From the very beginning, when things started coming out about problems at the project, he really wanted to get out and tell his side of the story. And his attorney, Ben Dusing, had to convince him that since these charges were coming up, that he really needed to make sure that he waited until it was the right time to finally come out and speak about what happened with the project.
So what did he say that stuck out?
So I guess, you know, one of the main things that stuck out to me is that he really wanted this project to get finished more than anyone else. This was something that he wanted to get done, that he had come up with some different plans to try to get this finished, and he still feels bad to this day that it was not completed under the original development group.
He's not out of the woods yet, though, because doesn't he face a lot of civil lawsuits?
There are a few civil cases still connected to this project that he's involved in. A group of subcontractors from the project are suing Daniels along with some other defendants, and that case is scheduled to go to trial this July. And also his former partner, Tim Baird, has filed a lawsuit against him as well, and that case is still pending.
So your headline says back to work. Doing what? What's he doing?
So Matt Daniels, one of the things that he told me is that he's fully committed to getting back to his career in commercial real estate. He said that he's got a couple projects in the pipeline, actually, 2 locally, 2 not in the Cincinnati area, but he really intends to kind of go back to that career that he had before this project blew up.
Well, you watch this industry. Can he survive something like this?
You know, I talked to a lot of people about that, a lot of people on the record, a lot of people off the record, and the consensus was that he can definitely come back from this. It's all a matter of getting that first project done, finding some investors who are willing to work with him, getting that first one done, as long as it's successful. And he's an idea guy. That's the thing that people kept coming back to. He's an idea guy. He gets things done. If he's able to do that one time, he'll get right back into it.
Tom, great story. Thank you. Be sure to read it in the print edition of the Business Courier. Kelly?
Thank you, Brian and Tom. And Brian, thank you for being here, even though you don't have a voice. By the way, Phillips Edison and Company are the new owners of that Kenwood property. The project has been renamed Kenwood Collection, a luxury retail development with restaurants and Class A office space. The developer of Oakley Station is partnering with Al Nair to bring up to 400,000 square feet of Class A office space to that mixed-use development. This is a rendering of the $65 million office portion of the development. Developers are targeting companies that want to get back into the core and hire young professionals living closer to the city center. About $30 million has gone into traffic improvements around the site, including the $21 million Kennedy Connector project, which opened at the end of 2013. Well, the Armstrong Student Center at Miami University will open to students tomorrow. The Courier got a sneak peek inside the new digs. The facility houses a theater, dining options, student organization space, and a variety of common areas. The center was built based on feedback from surveys with students. A second phase still needs to be completed, making the total square footage about 200,000 and the total price tag $50 million. UC Athletic Director Whit Babcock released updated renderings of what the renovated Nippert Stadium will look like. Work started last month on the $86 million project and is scheduled for completion in August 2015. Changes to the 89-year-old football stadium on the UC campus will boost capacity from just over 35,000 to around 40,000. Among the additions are suites, club seats, and a new press box. Well, at GE Evendale, it's a learning center that's getting all the buzz. The Learning Center is a place for GE to showcase its technology and capabilities, as well as show off some of its past. It is one of the few buildings on the Evendale campus that does not require a security clearance to enter.
In a year, we host approximately 90,000 visitors and 3,000 different events or meetings. And that includes things like large leadership meetings or operator conferences in our auditorium that seats 320 people and is a high-tech multimedia space that cannot be found anywhere else in the Evendale campus.
The building also showcases many of the engines GE has produced throughout its history, from the first jet engines built in response to Nazi Germany's work on jets during World War II, to the most modern engines used to power passenger and military jets today. To visit the center, members of the public are required to book a tour and be accompanied by a GE employee. As crews continue laying track for the Cincinnati streetcar, we're learning more about what it will cost you to take a ride. A 2-hour pass to ride Cincinnati streetcar will cost riders $1.75, the same as a one-way fare on Metro within the city of Cincinnati. The fares were presented to the City Council Committee overseeing transportation projects last week. A 24-hour streetcar pass will cost $3.50, the same as the cost to ride a Metro bus from Butler County or Warren County to downtown. Passenger service on the streetcar should be running by the middle of September 2016. The new president of law firm Strauss Troy grew up working in a flower shop. Marshall Dosker said he thought he'd make his career as a CPA, working in the family floral business. But his frustration with not understanding the legal side of that world led him to get his JD. Now he's leading Strauss Troy.
2014 with Strauss Troy in Cincinnati is going to be a great year. We have a lot of clients who are growing their businesses now, looking for new locations, adding people, both in manufacturing and services. There's a lot of energy going on in the brand space in Cincinnati, and Strauss Troy is prepared to service that business as well.
Dosker has been with the firm since law school and eventually hopes to retire from Strauss Troy. Read the full Q&A with him in our print edition. Dr. Henry Heimlich, the legendary Cincinnati doctor famous for creating the Heimlich maneuver to save choking victims, has written a memoir. The book acknowledges the controversy that accompanied that medical procedure and others he invented or advocated. Heimlich, who lives in Hyde Park and will be 94 on February 3rd, says he's actually been writing the book for a while.
First of all, I'm not just writing it now. I'm writing it throughout my life, my medical life. I have discovered things that are visibly saving the life of so many people.
In 1962, Heimlich invented a chest drain valve credited with saving the lives of wounded American soldiers during the Vietnam War. He moved to Cincinnati in 1968 to become head of surgery at Jewish Hospital. His autobiography is expected to be published next month. Well, last week the Business Courier celebrated all of you, our readers and viewers. The annual Book of Lists Gala was held at the Horseshoe Casino, Cincinnati. The event brings together the city's top list makers who were featured in our just-released Book of Lists.
We have list makers who make that list. They're top in their field, and this is our way of recognizing them.
Hey, we recognize that guy. He's going to be with us a little later. About 400 people attended the event. It was a great time. If you weren't there, be sure to attend next year. Up next on U.S. Bank Business Watch, a major new construction project is coming to a northern Cincinnati suburb. And is it too early to start thinking about spring, the Reds, and opening day? We don't think so. Some news you may have missed if you are not reading the Business Courier online every day or following us on Twitter and Facebook. Articure, the rapidly expanding medical device maker now based in Westchester, is in negotiations to buy enough land to build a new corporate headquarters in a northern suburb of Cincinnati. The move is expected by the end of 2015 or beginning of 2016. Articure is best known for making medical devices to treat atrial fibrillation characterized by an irregular and fast heartbeat. The Christ Hospital has purchased about 21 acres of land in northern Kentucky for a new medical office building that will be part of a larger mixed-use development here at the home of the former Drawbridge Inn in Fort Mitchell. Mike Keating, president and CEO of the Christ Hospital Health Network, said the site represents an exceptional opportunity to expand in northern Kentucky. Details of the development have not been finalized. A few stories now that give us hope for spring and warm weather ahead. The Oliver Family Foundation has given the Cincinnati Parks Foundation $1 million for the endowment of Smale Riverfront Park. The endowment will be used for future maintenance of the 45-acre park. Parts of Phase 1 are open, but construction continues on the portion west of the Suspension Bridge. Demand for Cincinnati Reds season tickets is on the rise, causing the team to change what it considers a season ticket holder. The Reds reconfigured their ticket plans and now require fans to buy packages of at least 20 games to meet the season ticket criteria. That designation means several things, including that season ticket holders get first crack at opening day tickets. Last year, fans who bought a 10-game plan received an opening day seat as part of the package. One of the largest club fitting golf shops in the country will open a location in Fairfield next month. Miles of Golf will have 28 acres that house golf shops, club fitting centers, practice facilities, and teaching academies. This is the second location in Ohio, and it will open with demo days February 8th, 15th, and 22nd. That sounds great. What are your goals for the years ahead? Are you saving and investing in those goals? Things like a college education or retirement take planning, and there are a variety of ways to prepare for those big events. So what are the best investment vehicles? In this morning's Economic 360, our very own Jim Russell, Senior Equity Strategist for U.S. Bank Wealth Management, joins us with some advice. He and Brian are back in the studio. Jim and Brian?
Thanks, Kelly. Excuse me, I can't talk. Good thing Jim can. How would you categorize these approaches to reaching those investment goals?
Yeah, Brian, there's really two main broad approaches. There are many ways to Buddha. There are many ways to the solutions that Kelly mentioned a minute ago, college education, retirement. There's really two, active management and passive management. Now, with active management, that is the active buying and selling of individual securities, stocks like Procter & Gamble, Cintas, Kroger, and others, and bonds to achieve a certain investment return. Now, there are certain advantages to active management, certain disadvantages as well. Now, there's another approach also called passive management, which is the second broad category. This is the use of index funds. This does provide the market return, call it the S&P 500 return, a mid-cap return, a European stock index type of return without any kind of qualification. Typically, these are either index funds through the mutual fund complex or something called an exchange-traded fund or an ETF. Typically, ETFs might have a slightly, a little bit of a fee advantage.
Do you see one of these strategies as superior to the other?
Yeah, there are cycles where active management outperforms. There are cycles where passive management actually outperforms. So what we do is we have some charts here on actual performance data, maybe over the last several years. You can see the periods where passive has outperformed. You can see the areas, the time periods rather, where active has outperformed. You know, the market has been fairly straight up over the last 5 years. Last year we were up 30%. That's typically when passive does outperform. Active managers usually outperform in periods where the market is kind of flat, maybe up a little bit, maybe down a little bit. So there are times, and we think we're probably entering one of them, where active management actually does better than passive management.
So for people who have, excuse me, people who have been in the passive management strategy may be shifting?
They may be shifting just a little bit. It does look like there is a series of kind of, let's call it economic conditions, market cycles that actually favor one style over another. And again, we seem to be rotating toward active, away from passive. Really flat to moderately up or slightly down equity markets, which is the type of environment that we see for 2014. We think the markets will be up anywhere from 6 to 8% domestically, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. That's a more moderate type of progression that we've seen lately. And also lower stock correlations, which also correlate to a moderate economic growth, not a straight up or straight down kind of scenario. So we do think that maybe a more active approach, more stock picking, will tend to do a little bit better in 2014.
Okay, Jim, we appreciate you. And U.S. Bank.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Kelly?
You got through it, Brian. That wasn't so bad. You guys did great. Still to come on U.S. Bank Business Watch, UC is preparing to honor some local business leaders. We'll tell you who and why next when we're joined by the Dean of the UC Business School. Congratulations to John Mark Alderslice, another of our 40 Under 40 honorees. Alderslice is Executive Director of CityLink Center, an organization that integrates several social service agencies. Welcome back to U.S. Bank Business Watch. In this morning's Business Insight, the Cincinnati Business Achievement Awards, presented by the University of Cincinnati Carl H. Lindner College of Business Alumni Board of Governors, is Cincinnati's longest-standing event recognizing achievement in business and service to the community. This year's awardees are Kathleen Selker, President and CEO of Northlick, who will receive the Carl Lindner Award for Outstanding Business Achievement, Louis Lauk Jr., President of KBM, and David Dillon, Chairman of the Board of the Kroger Company, who will receive Distinguished Service Awards, and Western and Southern Financial Group, which will receive the Business Partnership Award. Dean David Szymanski, Dean of the Carl Lindner College of Business at the University of Cincinnati, is with Business Courier publisher Jamie Smith for more on the awards and the awardees. David and Jamie?
Thanks, Kelly. David, thanks for being here today.
My pleasure, Jamie. Thanks for letting me come.
We're glad to have you. You know, usually when we're talking about the College of Business, we're talking about the students, and we're talking about what's going on up on campus. It's nice to talk about the accomplishments and people that work with the university. Talk a little bit about some of the awards.
Yeah, this is exciting for us. It's a way for us to honor people who have been really good friends of the institution. Some of these people are alumni, which is fantastic, so serve as role models for our students and where they can become in 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 years from now. And then some of it's just our friends, people who provided service to the institution who aren't alums. Our biggest award is for an alum, and it's Kathy Selker, who's getting the award this year, the Lindner Medal. Past recipients have been Paul Pullman, who's the CEO of Unilever, Mike Allman, who's working on the turnaround of JCPenney, John Barrett, and others. And it's really people who've had this preeminent career, But the fun part about this is that it's not just an opportunity to honor people who've been successful in terms of sort of the bottom line. It's an opportunity to honor people people who are also great people. You know, and that's really the role models we want to put in front of our students. But it's also the part that makes Cincinnati great. I mean, it is a city filled not only with successful business people, but people who are of utmost character and, you know, are willing to give back and help out others.
That's great. You said a lot of it is about achievement, but a lot of it is about service.
It is. It is. It's people who also give back. Dave Dillon is one of the people that we're going to honor. And everybody knows Dave and who he's been and what he's been about. But at one point in time, he was part of our Business Advisory Council for the business school and has played a strong role in the university. And, you know, certainly by hiring our students through internships and co-ops and then permanent employment, he's made a difference not only for Cincinnati and really for the country in terms of Courier and what they've been able to do, but certainly he's had a tremendous impact in our university.
And I believe this is going to be the 29th year of the awards?
It is. So we got a long, long tradition that's outlived both of us, and then we'll continue to outlive both of us.
Yeah, I think it's one of the longest standing business achievement awards in Cincinnati.
It is. It is. I think it's the longest that there is. And so the fun part is, another fun part is that you know, that list continually gets longer and longer in terms of people who we want to recognize. So it's not a list that has ever ended, and it's not a list that when we get to the the choices that we actually we have a very difficult time choosing people instead.
Talk a little bit quickly about Western Southern and that award.
Yeah, the Western Southern is a partnership award. And here's a company that's the CEO and the chairperson is one of our grads. But you know, as you go through the organization, there are really people who support us in our classrooms by bringing in guest speakers and projects and sponsorships. But they also, you know, the internships and the co-ops and the ability to hire and really just somebody who we can reach out to when we want advice and we want input.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, it's very valuable, you know, to help back like that. We're going to have the information on the screen now. The event's March 5th down at the Westin. We're going to have all that for them to see. I look forward to the event every time. Can't wait to see Kathy win her award. Yeah. Went through Leadership Cincinnati with her this past year. So.
And we appreciate the support of the Business Courier.
Well, good.
Thanks,
we're always
Jamie.
glad to participate. Thanks for being here today.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Kelly, back to you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for being here. And thank all of you for joining us for this morning U.S. Bank Business Watch. We'll be back next Sunday and every Sunday morning here at 6:30 on Local 12 and 10 a.m. in case you sleep in on the CW. For more business news all week long, visit the Cincinnati Business Courier online, sign up for daily emails, and follow on Twitter and Facebook. The address is cincinnatibusinesscourier.com. I'm Kelly Leon in for Brian Patrick. Have a great Sunday.